This is the first game I ever made. I put it online, literally nobody played it. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. I didn't know anything about marketing at the time. But what I didn't know then that I know now is that game led to a huge list of things that I couldn't possibly imagine. It kind of changed my life. So why would you spend months or years building something that nobody's gonna touch? Because making a game, even one that never leaves your hard drive, it changes you. My name is Tim Ruswick. Let me show you how. You know, I've come to appreciate games over the years. I didn't realize at first what I was doing. I didn't realize how much was actually involved in making a game. And they're kind of the ultimate form of art, if you think about it. Sound, music, storytelling, immersion, gameplay, particles, effects, technology, all of that. Any given skill that you could spend years of your life mastering, and they all come together to make a video game. They're stronger than passive forms of art, right? Like you can go to a museum and you can see a painting. You maybe even feel a painting, but you can't live a painting. You can't walk through a painting. And music, same thing. Like you can feel it. You might even be able to vibe with it, right? It might course through your body. You might like understand the lyrics. They might talk to you, but you can never experience it in 3D. You can never be immersed in the music. There are things that music can't do because it only covers one sense, hearing. So games are like making a picture the audience can walk through. They're like making a song the audience can experience. And there's so much more than that. And because of that, my self-expression really needed a thing like this. And it really helped me a lot in life in ways that I didn't expect either. It forced me to dabble in code and design and art and sound and storytelling, all the things we just talked about, the things that I needed to express myself in art. I also needed the skills to be able to do those things. So I had to learn how to make art. I went through pixel art, I went through painting, I went through Photoshop and Illustrator and Inkscape and all that stuff. And I had to learn all these programs. And finally I settled on vector art, which for me works better for my brain because I could manipulate the subjects on screen. It's not like regular art where you draw a thing and that's the thing you drew. In vector art, you make a shape and then you can manipulate the shape. It feels more like clay for me. And without games and without the need to actually make art, I wouldn't have understood the need for that skill, and I wouldn't have developed that skill, and I wouldn't have learned a lot about myself in the process. Because the thing is, my preference for vector art isn't just with art. It actually expanded out into many forms of my life. I've realized how important it is for me to touch and feel stuff. I ended up making a physical board game that I kickstarted called Murder Bunnies. The reason I did that is because I needed something physical. I needed to touch it and feel it and play it and change it. I spent a lot of time and investment on the keyboard and the mouse and the things that I touch every day because it made me realize how important physical touch is to me. Real things in the real world are important, and I grew up just in a digital space without those things, and it taught me about myself. On top of that, those skills that I learned transferred into many other areas of my life. I had a marketing company that I built and sold about 10 years ago now. Those skills directly transferred to marketing. If I had to make art for games, I had to learn how to manipulate images. I had to learn all these things that were relevant to selling products and branding and logos design and web design and all this stuff. The skills in art can never be replaced by anything else. I've learned so much from that. It's leveled me up in ways I couldn't possibly fathom. And on the programming side, same thing. Learning programming is logic problem solving. And there's a lot of times in life where solving problems with logic is very valuable. You might think you're learning Unity or Godot, but you're learning how to solve problems. And that can never be replaced. That is a skill that a lot of people frankly don't have these days. So there's the obvious stuff like skill growth in an area, right? Being a better artist, being a better programmer. I've even learned a lot about sound design. I've learned a lot about all that stuff. But there's also the intrinsic value of the art that matters. The act of creation itself matters to me. That's not a thing I thought would happen. In high school, I wasn't one of those theater kids who wanted to make art for art's sake. I didn't really understand the value of art by itself. I just liked video games and I wanted to make my own. But I realized in retrospect that that was what I was going towards, is I wanted to create. And games allowed me to do that. It allowed me to channel it into many different skills. Especially with a shorter attention span, I could change skills and I could learn a wide variety of skills. I was somebody that liked to learn. I still like to learn. And so games in the infinite possibility allow me to learn many things. And so the act of creation with a song or an art piece or a game is valuable to my soul. And I think it's valuable to yours as well. The act of creation is a powerful human thing. So completing a thing, finishing a thing is its own reward, even if no one ever plays it. even if no one ever experienced it, even if you don't show it to anybody, finishing a thing has been the drive in my life. It's been one of the hardest things I've ever done, not gonna lie, especially with games. My story with Philophobia is well documented on this channel. It took 4 years and a lot of my life force to pull off, but it was one of the most rewarding things I had ever done. And it's all its own intrinsic reward. And I highly recommend that you create for creation's sake. In addition to that, there's a bigger skill here, which is critical thinking and solving large problems. So logic is great for like small problems. If the computer doesn't turn on, is it plugged in? Is the power supply connected? Does the power button work, right? Going through the logical steps of debugging, learning how a thing works is important, but the bigger picture of how to build an entire computer or how to build an entire video game is another skill that a lot of people lack in life. They don't know how to start with a grand vision and work backwards from that thing. And so games are complex problems, right? They're large buckets of problems. And by developing games, you break them into small chunks and then you tackle those chunks. This builds patience and logical thinking and resilience and all kinds of other internal skills that I couldn't learn any other way. Architecting these huge, large projects, even if it's a multi-month game, even if it's a game jam game, it's still a complex project. So it's incredibly important skill to learn to be able to look at a large problem, break it into chunks and be able to solve and build those chunks. That has benefited me in so many ways, by starting companies, by working with people, by building things I never thought possible. And I'm just so grateful, honestly, that I took on these large things, even if I failed, even if I didn't make it, even if I did make it and nobody played it. And then on top of all of this, there's fun and fulfillment. And I think those things go hand in hand. There's a joy in watching something you've built come alive. There's something amazing about working on something with your own two hands and then seeing it work without you. And this in my life extends beyond games. I've built tables, I've built emulators, I've built all kinds of electronic devices, I've built robots and done BattleBot competitions. I've done all kinds of creative, buildy, thinky, architecty stuff. And the fulfillment that I get from doing that thing cannot be matched by anything else in my life. Even if you're the only one messing with it, it's still satisfying. And for a while when it wasn't, I realized that I was the problem. My expectations of what that thing would do for me were wrong. If I released a game and expected 1 million players, I didn't fail. I had the wrong expectations. And every time in life, I've instead focused on what I'm creating, focused on finishing the thing, focused on making something, and my expectations are to release it. I am always happy and overjoyed and excited for the outcome. Instead of putting all this pressure on what it should do, I can never control the outcome. I can only control my output. So that's what I focus on. I focus on the work, and then I appreciate the thing that comes out of it. So that first game nobody ever played, that wasn't a waste. It was the foundation for literally everything, for the dozens of games I've made, for the feedback I've given to thousands of players, for the YouTube video that you're watching. That game started it all. So even if your game gets 0 downloads, you'll walk away with skills, stories, and a piece of yourself turned into something that you're proud of. So even if nobody ever plays your game, keep making one, and don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't.